In this module, we will examine what white papers tell you about a project's unique value proposition. Let's get into it. A white paper is simply put a project's manifesto. It is a document that presents in full details why a project exists and what they are planning to do differently or better. Some projects' white papers will cater to users, others will cater to potential investors. Never invest in a project if they haven't made some form of white paper publicly available. And this is very important for research. Really, really, really important. So take note of this. So to illustrate what I just said in the previous slide, I have put the a screenshot of a project homepage, right? And if you just look over here, clearly um they are clearly linking to their white paper, right? They called it a light paper, but they can those both words can be used interchangeably, right? So source oneness.labs.io, right? So the project is called Oneness, and basically they say they want to financialize the $200 billion traditional gaming industry with Web3 tech and liquidity. But one of the first things you will see when you land on their website is a link to their light paper. So that's a very good sign. Just wanted to illustrate what I said in the previous slide using an example. So moving on, this project has included a link to their light paper on the header section of their official website, so it's easily accessible. A simple gesture such as this can easily help you eliminate crappy cryptocurrencies, as they usually either have a hastily prepared white paper or none at all, right? A white paper will usually contain an overview or introduction, a background or problem statement, objectives or principles, architecture or working process or processes, tokenomics, roadmap, and then team, advisors, marketing strategy, and backers. Now you will notice I put double asterisks to this last item on the list, and I would explain why as we move forward. So overview or introduction talks briefly about the project, outlining its core offerings. It should feel like an entrepreneur's elevator pitch, brief and direct. So basically, the overview should, tell you one or two things about the project. Just basic things, nothing too serious, but try to give you, you know, a hint as to what they are trying to do. Um Background or problem statement. This is self-describing, right? This section should speak in clear details about the problem or problems the project spotted in the market. Objectives or principles. This section will outline how the project plans to position itself to solve the problems it has already discussed. It may also outline the project's core values and its long-term vision. Essentially, this section should show you, you know, what the project is doing about the problem they saw, right? So if they have put a product together, they should let you know in this section. If they have put a service together, they should let you know, and then outline their core values, what they stand for, why they stand for what they stand for, all of that. But it should be really, really um detailed, right? They should discuss how they plan to solve the problems. All right, moving on. Architecture stroke working process. This should present also in clear details how the product or service they have designed works. It should describe how their product eliminates the problem. So if in the let me go back. If in the objectives part they are talking about what they plan to do, then in this architecture should working process part, they will tell you how what they have prepared, how it works, right? So it should show you how their product or service works, and show you in detail how it eliminates the problem that they saw. So I put in brackets, right? Try to figure out how the project's coin or token interrelates with their core offering while reading this part. It might not always be included in the tokenomics section, right? So this is just something to note. Okay. Um try figuring out how the token, right? The token you're planning to invest in, how that plays a role in the working process of their product or service, right? Their core offering. So just figure it out. They might not state it clearly, right? And usually they would, but they might not always. So just try to figure that out here. If they don't talk about it in this document, they'll talk about it in the tokenomics, or maybe even in the docs, right? Then tokenomics. In case the tokenomics is not contained in a separate document, it will be part of the white paper. This section shows how or if the cryptocurrency is interwoven into the core offering. So to show you how, or to show you if the cryptocurrency is interwoven into the core offering. This will usually define its utility, right? Because if the token doesn't play a role in the project, then the token might as well not exist. So it needs to play an important role in the working process of the solution that they are planning to bring to market, or they have brought to the market, assuming it's a project that is old, that's already established, right? Details about what other information should be contained is available in a previous module, right? So I already told you all of the things you can find in um tokenomics in a dedicated video, right? So I already discussed that. Roadmap. This section will make the white paper feel more like a business plan, and it should. It sets specific time frames for different milestones. It tells the reader stroke investor the phase of development the project would have reached at a particular time, including what stage they are currently at. Right, so that's self-explanatory. I shouldn't speak more on that. Then team advisors, marketing strategy, and backers. So I said I would explain why I put it in asterisks, and this is the explanation basically. These are not necessarily important components of a white paper, right? So they may or may not appear on a white paper, and you shouldn't expect to see them, right, on a white paper. So the majority of these pieces of information will most likely be on the project's website or social media handles, right? So let me just speak a little on each of them, right? So the team is basically the people behind the project, right? So the CEO, CTO, uh the head of engineering, head of product, whatever. But basically, the people who you know founded the company and people who work for the company. Then advisors will sometimes be in-house, sometimes external people, right? And basically, they help the project, put things into perspective, right? So they might have financial advisors, they might have marketing advisors, right? So basically, people who help the project using their wealth of experience, right? Then either their wealth of experience or their influence, right, in the cryptocurrency market. Then you have marketing strategy. This just tells you what and what the project plans to do to make themselves known to their potential customers, right? How they plan to market, whether they are going to use social media or not, whether they're going to use KOLs, that's key opinion leaders or not, and all of those, whether they are going to use influencer marketing. So basically, their marketing strategy. Then backers are all the people who have invested in the early stages, right? Assuming they have people who have. So these will be people who invested in like maybe the pre-sale, seed round, all of those early investment stages, right? So yeah, those are um you know what each of these things mean and what they stand for. All right, moving on. No project will ever discourage a potential investor from purchasing their cryptocurrency. If anything, they'd prefer that you bought it before even hearing about them. And that's the truth, right? Reading a project's white paper will give you reasons to or not to put your money into their cryptocurrency. So basically, what I'm saying here is projects would, you know, they would never discourage you from buying their cryptocurrency, right? In fact, they stand to gain more from you buying the cryptocurrency than from you not buying. So they would always, put all of those higher copywriters, make you want to buy their token basically. Most especially the scammers, right? Most especially the scammers, because they want the market to be interested in their token, so the price goes up, and then they can either pull the rug or dump their whale holdings, all of that. So yeah, reading a project's white paper, like I said, will give you reasons to or not to put your money into their cryptocurrency. As opposed to about us pages, which can be filled with motivational words and well crafted copywriting designed to make you want to buy. Okay, I said that, right? White papers and documentation, which we will discuss in a future module, give you an unbiased, microscopic level understanding of a cryptocurrency's underlying project. That's all for this module. Thank you for your time and see you in the next section.